This is our last story. This is kind of our topic of the show, so we'll kind of break this out a little bit. I'm pulling from Rebecca Valentine at IGN. Essentially, Ubisoft, they've delayed Skull and Bones yet again, and they look like they're in all sorts of trouble. So this is what Rebecca writes. Ubisoft has announced that it has, for the 6th time, delayed Skull and Bones, as well as canceled 3 more unannounced games amid, quote, major challenges, end quote, in the industry. The underperformance of Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope and Just Dance 2023, and an upcoming restructuring of the company. In a press release today, which this was a few days ago, Ubisoft outlined a new strategy for the remainder of its fiscal year, as well as lowered expectations for the last fiscal quarter. Ubisoft explains that the move as a result of the company, quote, facing major challenges as the industry continues to shift towards mega brands and long-lasting titles then can reach players across the globe, across platforms and business models, end quote. While Ubisoft notes its goal has been to build large, overarching here's a question for you.
Sure.
Overarching. How do we say that?
That's a good question.
If Kiki's still in the chat, you're smarter than me. Give me that answer with some phonics.
I always say overarching, but it could be arching, and I've been saying it
because
wrong.
it's an arch, right?
But an arc is like when you shoot, right? It arcs something in arc.
Not K. So overarching. Thank you. So we're both wrong.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. So to bring it back, overarching. Where's the word overarching? Man, I really lost this. Fucking hell, where is it?
Great content.
Unbelievable. I know. Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, while Ubisoft notes its goal has been to build large, overarching global brands, the release adds that, quote, games from this investment phase have yet to be released, while our recent launches have not performed as well as expected. Specifically, the press release later calls out Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope as underperforming in the final weeks of 2022 and early January, despite an ambitious marketing plan. And Just Dance 2023 has underperformed as well. In response to these issues, Ubisoft has delayed Skull and Bones for the 6th time and is also canceling 3 unannounced projects on top of the 4 it already canceled last year. For Skull and Bones specifically, the new target looks to be early 2023 or 2024, a game that was supposed to come out in like a month and might be coming out next year now, but we'll get to it. Assuming this means fiscal year, the soonest we'll see Skull and Bones will now be April of 2023 and maybe as late as December. Ubisoft is also depreciating 500 million euros of research and development on upcoming premium and free-to-play games and the games they're canceling. It's looking to both focus on fewer games moving forward and potentially restructuring and reducing costs in the coming year. It's reduced its net bookings target for the quarter ending in December by 720 million euros from its previous target of 830 million euros. During that investor call, the news certainly worried some investors who questioned what Ubisoft had remaining in the tank. With all of these delays and cancellations, they were reassured that for the next fiscal year, the one that starts in April, they're going to have Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and other premium unannounced games, including a large one, and Skull and Bones if it isn't delayed for a 7th time. Cayman, what the fuck's going on at Ubisoft?
I told you, man. Ubisoft's going under. Well, what's funny is I think it was Jeff Grubbs who posted. He was like, yeah, Ubisoft has tried to sell themselves to multiple different outlets and no one will touch them because of how piss poor it is.
It's like if for a studio that has so many huge games, for no one to want it, that ain't a good look.
So the question is, though, is like, is it because they're approaching these calls to be like, buy us out, we're failing, and then they're like, okay, cool, we'll buy you for, I don't know, let's say 8 million. That's what Bethesda went for, right? Let's say 8 million or 8 billion, and Ubisoft's like, no, we're worth like 50 to 60, and they're just like, no.
It could be that they're way overvaluing themselves.
Yeah, which. Like, there's definitely ways to get around. Like, you can, there's evaluations on companies and stuff like that, Like, we saw all that shit go down with Twitter and how all that shook out. But I think the thing is here is obviously Ubisoft's in trouble. The reason I think is the bigger question. Why? And I think that probably the most logical answer to this is one of the big reasons that Ubisoft was so successful and dominated the market for so long was because they had offices and developers, like their studios were all over the world. Well, once the pandemic hit, there's no need for that anymore. People just work from
Sure.
home. So like that one bit of marketability that they had as a company now no longer exists. Then I think the other thing is that they had a few tank games that just didn't perform very well. And then they freaked out and did the worst possible thing, and that was take all of their resources and put it towards one big property. But the thing is there's diminishing returns when you go down a method like that.
Yeah.
It's like Marvel right now. Like there's diminishing returns when you're releasing a fucking Marvel property every month or two. People
Sure.
just get burned out, and that's the way I feel about Assassin's Creed right now. It's like we get so many Assassin's Creed games all the fucking time. Like I don't really care. I'll just wait and play it in a year or two. And I think a lot of people feel like that because they're like,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to play through this 120-hour game, this massive open
That they
world.
keep adding more content
Yeah,
to.
and it's just like I don't know, guys. Like so I think that that's probably where it starts. At this point, I don't think Ubisoft goes under. I think Ubisoft gets bought for considerably less than I think they want to be bought for.
Sure.
Then the question is who buys Ubisoft? And I can tell you right now, it's not going to be Microsoft. There is
Yeah. Oh,
no
absolutely not.
way that Microsoft is going to be able to pull that off with this Activision deal going on. Potentially, after they, if the Activision deal goes through or maybe doesn't go through, then they might be able to pull that off with Ubisoft because people might feel differently about the fact that like you're buying a dying company and you're just buying them out
Right.
rather than you're buying out a very successful company that's just embroiled in sexual misconduct allegations,
Right. And like,
which I think are
and they're
too, you know,
it's two different, but also their what do you call it? Their portfolio of studios and games is really impressive. Well, like Ubisoft, not to say that like their studio is shit or anything, but like they really only have a couple major franchises. Those franchises just happen to be massive because everything else that they've tried to do, like you look at games released in 2022, we had Mario plus Rabbids, Roller Champions, a Tom Clancy Rainbow Six game that completely was dead on arrival. Another Just Dance, a game I've never heard of called Arena Survivors Battle Royale, and a game I've never heard of called Anno 1800 Complete Edition. So like I don't know what some of these games are, but so like obviously they're not. I mean, we do a video game podcast. Like if anyone's going to know what these games are, it's us, right? So if we don't know what these games are, obviously these games aren't successful. And the year before that, I think it was just like the only main game that they released was Far Cry 6. They did Riders Republic, which like they hoped would be a hit, and it wasn't. And so I feel like there's just been so many. They've not been able to reinvent themselves. They've not been able to come up with new ideas that work
mm-hmm.
at a grand scale. Like it right now, I would assume what they mean by we only want to focus on mega brands. I mean, I guess it's what it's Assassin's Creed, it's Far Cry, and it's Tom Clancy, like whatever, whether that's Rainbow Six, Division, because Mario plus Rabbids isn't big enough. Just Dance, they're probably going to always do Just Dance if as long as it sells. But like other than that, Watch Dogs is dead. Uh, Roller Champions obviously didn't work.
Doesn't
Like these other
Ubisoft
games.
own don't they own that game about the prince that was made with Jake Gyllenhaal in a film and I'm forgetting its name? Prince of
Oh, Prince
Persia.
of
Don't they
Persia.
own
Yeah,
Prince of
yeah.
Persia?
And so yes, but I don't think it's a Ubisoft company, or if it is, I think it is a Ubisoft company, but it's a Ubisoft company that was newer, that was doing the remake of Prince of Persia Sands of Time that last year we've talked about on a show. They were like, "Hey, we're kind of starting over because the game was bad." Which like I would assume I would not be surprised if one of the canceled games is that game.
Yes.
Had they said that they've canceled 3 this year, 4 last year, I bet one of the 3 canceled games is the Prince of Persia game. If I'm remembering correctly, that it is a Ubisoft owned studio, which I think it is,
Yeah.
because it's a Ubisoft property.
Mhm.
Interestingly, it came out, I think, the day after this report happened, that Beyond Good and Evil 2 reportedly still in development.
Oh my god. No, the game is
Which
not in development.
I don't know.
There's
We'll see.
no fucking way. If they're saying other premium announced games, including a large one, and then they just fucking dump Beyond Good and Evil on us, like, you know what would be really funny, honestly, is if they dumped it on us, then you play like 10 hours into the game, and then it turns into Dreams, and it's like, finish it for us.
Yes. What they've been spending the last 2 years on is an engine to create video games within it, and so that you can make the rest of the game however you want it to be. That's a great idea.
Honestly,
Um,
someone out there is making a game just like that.
I almost wore my Dreams sweatshirt to this recording if I had. What a moment that would have been. But yeah, I don't know. I love Assassin's Creed, even though like this new kind of reorg that they did last year of like, hey, this is the future of Assassin's Creed. Not all of it spoke to me, but parts of it did. Like Mirage, the one that's coming out this year, supposedly, that's like a smaller experience, more akin to the originals. Like that is really exciting to me. I don't want Ubisoft to die.
Not at all.
But like, it's not looking good.
They're going, well, yeah. And like I said, I don't think they will outright die.
Sure.
They will be bought out by someone.
And that someone.
And we actually had a conversation about this, Patrick. I don't know if you remember, but we were like, who do we think takes a risk?
Uh-huh. And we both simultaneously said EA.
Yes, EA.
Yeah.
I don't know
I think,
why.
I mean, I think it's because they are a pretty comparable company to Ubisoft, but they have a more successful business strategy because they have games like FIFA that make them $1 billion a year.
Yeah.
Ubisoft doesn't have that. They've tried to get to that, but they've never been able to crack that nut of, as a mega company in the game space, whether it be a game as a service or something like FIFA that, you know, it's just a sports game, but they've made it to where they've monetized it to where so many people put so much money into that. I can't even, like where you build your own team. I forget what it's called. Because I never wanted to do it because I knew if I started, I would be one of the ones that are just throwing their money into it. They've never been able to crack that nut, and they've tried with things like the Rainbow Six series, but like this most recent one, Extraction, just didn't work. And I think EA, because they have that that track record of being able to, not just in FIFA, but in other franchises too, being able to monetize a game and make a shit ton of money from it. And then because they're making $1 billion from FIFA, they are able to make deals with fucking Lucasfilm to be able to make a game like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and now Jedi Survivors. And they're able to go and make these other games because they're making fucking chests and chests of money from a game like FIFA.
You know who we didn't think about? Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think if that were to happen, Disney essentially buys all of Ubisoft's assets and debt and is like, okay, now you get to make us Disney games?
Yes. They're already making they're making a fucking Avatar game because James Cameron's a piece of shit.
And
now that just means that guess what? Disney now has the rights to be able to make Assassin's Creed movies or TV shows. They can make Prince of Persia shit. They can make Tom Clancy, like the Fox brand can make Tom Clancy movies. Like
I wonder, the only thing that jumps out to me as a reason why that might not work is because they just signed that deal with Netflix. They're bringing a bunch of their shit to Netflix, but I don't know that business. So like maybe part of the thing can be, okay, no, actually that's going to be a Disney thing. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, and it makes sense to me. One, because they have the money, they could spend more than I think EA on it, obviously. But I think the other thing too is like I don't think that this becomes like a monopoly situation because they're not buying more film related things.
Yeah, because like Disney doesn't have its own game studio.
Exactly.
They always license their shit out.
Exactly. So if they just bought out
Not a bad idea.
Ubisoft, yeah, I mean that's not Bob Iger's out there forcing everyone to go back and work back in the office. He's about to have to do it to Ubisoft.
Yeah, I mean that I don't think that's a bad idea, Cayman.
Oh my god,
You
should I
have a good
change
idea
some
from
of my
time to time.
should I change some of my predictions around?
Yeah, we can make it to where we each get one. We can go add if we have an idea before the middle of the year.
Someone timestamp this episode so when Disney buys out Ubisoft by the end of the year, we can look back on this and be like, God damn it, Cayman was right again.
We need to start talking to Las Vegas and putting money on these things. But yeah, we'll be tracking the situation, obviously, and having updates when we got them. But I don't know. I'm worried, Cayman, but we're going to talk about it in the future. But why don't we end the show with a little update to the 2023 calendar? We're in 2023 now, Cayman. Can you believe it? January 19th, that is the day of release of this episode on Game Pass. We're getting Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden. How exciting. We're here. So that's also going to be coming to other platforms, but you'll be able to download it for free on Game Pass on January 19th. January 20th, you're also getting Monster Hunter Rise on Xbox Game Pass. And then on the PlayStation side of things, on PlayStation Plus Extra, I didn't write the dates down, but I think this is also January 19th. You're getting Back for Blood. You're getting Dragon Ball Fighters. You're getting Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. You're getting Life is Strange Before the Storm and Life is Strange. Sayonara Wild Hearts, Jet the Far Shore, Just Cause 4 Reloaded, Omno, and Erica. And then if you got premium, you're also getting everything above that I just said. And Siphon Filter 3, Star Wars Demolition, and Hot Shots Golf 2. And because of the HBO show, you can play The Last of Us Part 1 on PS5 with a 2-hour trial if you got PlayStation Plus Premium. So if you've still not played the game, but you want to watch the show and you got a PlayStation 5, a lot of boxes got to be checked for this to apply to you. But Last of Us Part 1, you can play the first 2 hours if you are a PlayStation Plus Premium subscriber.
Patrick, any of these stand out to you?
So yes and no. And what I mean by that is on the PlayStation Plus side of things, like Jet the Far Shore is a game that I'm interested in trying, but I don't expect to like it. But maybe I do. I'm also interested in playing Sayonara Wild Hearts on a TV because I played that on my phone.
Same.
And I stopped playing because I was like, this game seems kind of awesome, but like I don't want to be playing it on my phone. So I might try that one out. Other than that, though, Persona 3.
You're saying that we're not going to jump into some Back for Blood just to give it a shot, just the two of us, just two
I bought Back for
boys.
Blood when it came out.
Really?
Yeah.
On what?
No, I didn't. I played it on Xbox Game Pass. No, I didn't. I didn't buy it. But I had fun with Back for Blood, and I would play it again. It just I didn't have anyone to play with, and that's a game that you got to play with people. So we can play that. Why don't we get our little Discord to download Back for Blood and let's do it.
Hell yeah, let's fucking do it. Also, I am curious to jump into Devil May Cry 5. They've never really I've always enjoyed them, but I've never been like a big enough fan to like go out and buy on launch day. Maybe I will say I did buy DMC on launch, and well, the less we talk about that, the better. The game's not bad. It just
is DMC the one where he got a short haircut?
Yeah, they tried to like reboot it, and everyone hated it.
Yeah,
and the game didn't play bad. The game played totally fine. It just I think it's one of those weird ones like when you expect Devil May Cry, and they're like, "This is Devil May Cry," and it's like you're like, "Hey, I want a cupcake," and they're like, "This is a cupcake," but obviously it's a cannoli. You're like, "But I don't want a fucking cannoli. I want a cupcake." That is exactly what this was, and them just screaming at you, being like, "No, you're wrong. This is a cupcake that looks like a cannoli, but and it just was like, that's not it."
If we have any animators in our audience, if you want to animate that cupcake cannoli bit, just that, I would love to see what that looks like visually. We got some questions in the chat. Guilty Remnant Smoker Any 2023 updates on Dr. Mario World? I wish. I wish we had an update on Dr. Mario World. That game was killed in 2021, and I still think about that. Came in. If you're not familiar, Dr. Mario World, it was a game on mobile. It was basically like Candy Crush. It was Dr. Mario but Candy Crushed, where like
What?
there was just all sort
How
like
did I
infinite levels,
how did I miss
and
this?
it was fucking incredible. And Guilty Remnant Smoker, I think, was ranked #1 in the world at some point. Not literally, but like she was the real deal. Fire Rosalina, yeah, R.I.P. Dr. Fire Rosalina. What a moment there, timing. But yeah, unfortunately, they killed it because it wasn't making them enough money, and because this is something I know you care about, Cayman, because of the state of it being on the App Store. Once it was dead, that game is gone forever. You can never play it again. It's like gone. Like in 10 years from now, there will be like you can watch YouTube videos, but that's it. History forgotten. John also wants us to know, or wants to know, if we saw the T-Lou parodies. I didn't, but if you want to send them to me, I might watch them.
Swear to God, they did some. They had to. Just waiting for SNL.
This
to
fucking guy, I swear to fucking God, he's such a piece of shit. Like, I say so many nice things about him. I give him the time of day, and this is how he repays me.
So for our audio listeners that you don't understand, John asked if we saw the parody of The Last of Us, and when Patrick was lamenting something else, it popped up a pair of D's nuts. So
You're a son of a bitch, John.
Honestly, keep them coming, man. Those are great.
God damn it. Well, that's our show. I need to go have a lie down and a drink after that because my heart pressure or my blood pressure's through the roof after that. You son of a bitch. Okay. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'd love it if you like, subscribe, share the podcast with your friends, family, loved ones, worst of enemies, all those things. I mean, I'm pulling from Save Trash Cinema here, but don't share it with Keith. By all means, don't share it with Keith.
Yeah, fuck Keith.
If you want to follow the show, you can follow us on Twitter at SpotGamesPod. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, even though I've not posted anything in like 9 months, or Twitch at Spotlight Games Pod. Especially on Twitch, follow us so that you're notified when we go live so you can be part of the conversation. We're also on YouTube at Spotlight Games Pod as well. Cayman, where can they follow Save Trash Cinema and you on socials?
You can follow me at Kid Cayman on Twitter. Don't follow me on Instagram. I don't post. But you can follow Save Trash Cinema at Save Trash Cinema on every single social media app besides all
Parler.
the ones that are now popping up to try to replace Twitter. So
you are on Parler.
Oh, of course. I've been on Truth Social for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Founding member. They actually call me a founding father.
Wow. Founding daddy. The T in STC actually stands for truth.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Make sure you also go check out Spotlight TV Pod for the first episode about the first episode of The Last of Us on HBO. But until then, until next week, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Unless your name is John, in which I hope you fucking die. Not really.